Oregon State has not made a bowl game since 2013. But this could be the year that all changes. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, the best kept secret in all of college football. Today, bringing you our 2020 Oregon State Beavers college football predictions. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also check out everything down in the description below, where you can visit our new website, thegridironexpert.com, to receive some exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. And also follow us on our social media pages over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So guys, Oregon State almost made a bowl game last year in year 2 under Jonathan Smith. The Beavers went 5-7, their best record since 2014, and had 3 losses decided by a combined 7 points. 1 touchdown over 3 games kept the Beavers out of the postseason. But Jonathan Smith is doing a fantastic job at his alma mater, going from 2-10 in his first year to 5-7 in his second year. And I do believe that the Beavers can continue to improve in 2020 as long as the offense figures everything out. It was a historic offense for the Beavers last year. They averaged 31.2 points per game and set school records by averaging 6 yards per play and only committing 6 total turnovers on the year. That's pretty dang impressive. But the Beavers lose their star quarterback and Jake Luton. That is huge for them. If he was still around, this could be a very special year for the Beavers. But now they're going to have to rely on the backup and Tristan Gebbia, who only threw for a little over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. Keep in mind, though, that was just limited playing time, as Luton was, of course, the starter. They do return Jermar Jefferson, though, one of the best running backs within the Pac-12. He had almost 700 yards rushing last year and 8 touchdowns. And while they do lose their star wide receiver in Isaiah Hodgins, who had over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns last year, they do return the very short but elusive Champ Flemings to lead that wide receiver core. An offense, guys, that only returns 3 total starters, like we mentioned. So that's going to be the key for Oregon State this year, is hoping Gebbia plays well. And after what I've seen from him in limited playing time last year, I do believe he can live up to the hype and kind of pick up where Luton left off. And, of course, finding consistency everywhere else on the offensive side of the ball. When you look at their defense, guys, that's kind of been the struggle for Oregon State as of late. But I do believe that they take a huge step forward in 2020. They allowed 32.5 points per game last year. They had the 108th total defense last year, so neither of those marks very good at all. But they have tons of talent everywhere within those 6 starters coming back. You got Hamilcar Rashed Jr., who had 14 sacks and 22.5 tackles for a loss at linebacker last year. You return your leading tackler in Avery Roberts, also at linebacker. And you've got a very strong secondary, in my opinion, led by Nashawn Wright, who had 3 interceptions, which led the team. So you've got a strong secondary, you've got a strong linebacking core, and this 108th ranked defense from last year, to me, will certainly crack at least the top 90 in the nation in 2020. If you improve by 18 spots, that could give you an extra win or 2 on your record. So we take a look at the Beavers. Can they get to a bowl game for the first time since 2013? Of course, at the filming of this video, all we know within the Pac-12 is that non-conference games have been canceled. We will include our non-conference record for them, 2-1. We will include those wins and losses in our final record projection. But we do know that those games, of course, will not be played. They will not count, and it will solely come down to conference records. So take that with a grain of salt. And whether or not the Beavers and every Pac-12 team plays 9 conference games like they usually would, or if they do, in fact, bump it up to 10. But regardless, we're predicting all 12. We have them starting 2-1. We would, of course, have them losing to Oklahoma State. They fell to the Cowboys last year. We don't believe they'd be able to go on the road and take care of business this year, but bounce back with easy wins over Colorado State and Portland State. They then hit Pac-12 play, guys, and it's not easy for the Beavers this year. Road games at Arizona State, Washington, Stanford, and Utah. Of course, the annual rivalry matchup against Oregon, the best team and the favorite within the Pac-12 this season. So none of those going to be easy games for Oregon State, which means if they want to get to the postseason, they've got to win their winnable games, and they've got to win those winnable games at home. The first one, of course, is Washington State, and I believe that is a winnable game at home, and I believe that is a win for the Beavers. Last year, they fell in heartbreaking fashion to Mike Leach and the Cougars, falling 54-53. An absolute shootout, an absolute thrilling fourth quarter between the Cougars and the Beavers. 48 combined points between the two. But Oregon State blew it, guys. They were up by 11 points with a little over 4 minutes remaining, but allowed Washington State to score 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes, 10 seconds, including the game-winning run by Max Borghi with 2 seconds left to give the Cougars the 1-point victory. So a very devastating loss there. One of those 3 very close losses that we mentioned earlier that kind of ultimately kept the Beavers home for the holidays. But this Washington State team, guys, while I do believe they'll flirt with bowl eligibility this year, has a lot of questions because they're dealing with a new coaching staff. Nick Rolovich comes in to take over from Mike Leach, who left for the SEC at Mississippi State. Anthony Gordon, one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year, of course, has now departed. And Rolovich is switching from an air raid to a run-and-shoot offense. So with some questions on the offensive side of the ball with a defense that has never really been that strong under Mike Leach. And I certainly don't expect that to drastically change in year one under Rolovich. I think at home for the Beavers, they take care of Washington State in a bit of a revenge game as well, and they start conference play 1-0. They then get back-to-back road games against Arizona State and Washington, and I'm giving the Beavers losses in both of these. And of course, they're not automatic losses. I don't think they're going to necessarily be blowout losses. Keep in mind, Oregon State defeated Arizona State 35-34 last year. The Sun Devils' 2-point conversion failed with 1:40 left in the game. So they very well could have lost that game, but the Beavers had a 1-point loss to Washington State last year. They had a 1-point win over Arizona State. The thing is, this game, of course, ends in the desert, a very difficult place to play, regardless of fans being in the stands or not. And Arizona State, which was a solid team last year, is going to be even better in 2020, led by Jaden Daniels, one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12 and one of the best young quarterbacks in the entire nation. Last year against Oregon State, he threw for over 300 yards, 334 yards, and 3 touchdowns last year. And while he does lose a lot of key skill position players around him, such as Eno Benjamin and Brandon Ayuk, the defense returned 7 starters on that side of the ball. And to me, that's going to be the difference maker in this one. Home field advantage, a strong defense, one that I think Arizona State owns a slight edge in. The Beavers fall on the road. Same for Washington here. The Beavers fell to the Huskies 19-7 last year, but the Huskies certainly own that defensive edge. Well, I do have questions at quarterback with Jacob Sirmon. While they lose their head coach, Chris Peterson, and now Jimmy Lake takes over. Washington still owns that slight defensive edge, in my opinion, and they also own home field advantage. It's a rough 2-game stretch for the Beavers here, guys. While I think they're competitive in both, I do think they fall in both. So you include the non-conference guys, and they're 3-3. They're right at 500. They're 3 wins away from bowl eligibility, of course, if you include those non-conference games. They get their bye week, guys, and this game against California could be the difference maker. Could be the difference maker between maybe 5 wins or 6 wins. And I'm going to give them the win over the Golden Bears. And if you know how much I like this California team, this might take you by surprise. Because this California team has the potential to be the second best within the Pac-12 North, only behind Oregon. But Oregon State beat California 21-17 last year. And I know California played that game with Devin Modster. They did not have their star quarterback in Chase Garbers. And with Garbers being fully healthy, this will be a California team that will be tough to beat. Ironically, I have California upsetting Oregon the week prior to this. But sometimes when you pull off a major upset, you have a bit of a letdown game the week after. I view this as one for the Golden Bears. Coming on the road after a monumental win at home against the Ducks, Oregon State is coming off a bye week. looking to correct some things after back-to-back losses. They're hungry for a win. They see the importance of this win. They were able to exploit California's defense last year just to barely win by 4. And I think at home this year, they're able to do just the same. In a one-possession game, it's the Beavers that win yet again over the Golden Bears in what, at the time, will be a major, major upset. Oregon State defeats the Golden Bears. They go back on the road. They fall to Stanford, but we have them beating UCLA. This is a Stanford team, guys, that they fell to by 3 points. They fell to by 3 points last year, 31-28. The Beavers were down 21-0. 21-0, battled all the way back, tied it up with 1:55. But kind of like the Washington State game, the defense couldn't hold up, and they fell on a game-winning field goal. Stanford, as we know, will improve. They went 4-8 last year, their first losing record since 2008. We said it was a fluke. We believe it was a fluke, and David Shaw will prove that it was a fluke. If they fully stay healthy with Davis Mills at quarterback and an improving defense, especially in the secondary, Stanford should return to the postseason. And one of those wins will come against Oregon State. The Beavers bounced back after the loss against Stanford, though, to kick off November with a win against UCLA, a team they defeated by 17 points last year. And that was on the road. And, you look at UCLA last year, guys, they're one of those teams I really don't know what to expect out of this year. Are they going to go 4-8, 5-7 again, or are they going to go 6-6? I don't know what to expect out of Chip Kelly because he has really, really disappointed during his time in LA. We know that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be tough to stop, but obviously to me, the key in this one is not the offense, it's the defense. UCLA had one of the worst defenses in the country last year. They only returned 3 starters on that side of the ball. I don't think they're 17 points better than they were last year. They're certainly not 17 points better on the road against the Beavers. So they're able to take down the Bruins, but then they fall to Utah. And I know we're alternating wins and losses here. I know that the games are coming on the road for Oregon State, and I know they're winning the games at home. But once again, we mentioned the winnable games for Oregon State this year are at home. The road games do not do them any favors. And while many will be quick to say, well, Utah lost so much, we mentioned UCLA is not 17 points better this year. Oregon State is not 45 points better this year. They fell to the Utes 52-7 in 2019. Yes, Utah loses Tyler Huntley, Zach Moss, a lot of their top pass catchers. Only returned 2 starters on defense from the second-ranked defense in the country last year. We get that. But the game is still in Salt Lake City. They are still led by Kyle Whittingham. And they might have a great transfer quarterback in Jake Bentley. If he lands the starting job coming over from South Carolina, this Utah offense might not take that big of a step back. So they lose to Utah here, beat Arizona, and if you're paying attention, that clinches bowl eligibility if you conclude those non-conference games. So they are going bowling for the first time since 2013. They take down Arizona, a team they defeated by 18 points last year, and I could see them beating the Wildcats by 18 points or more yet again in 2020. Kevin Sumlin has failed to meet expectations down in Tucson. He is really, really disappointed. And outside of a solid quarterback and a wide receiver core, Arizona doesn't have much talent. And I don't think they're going to drastically improve this year. So Sumlin might be out of a job by season's end. Oregon State clinches the win over the Wildcats and naturally falls to their rival in Oregon. They've lost to them 24-10 last year. It might be worse than last year. They only lost by 14. They could lose by, I think, 21 or more. That's how good this Oregon team is, guys. So even though the Beavers are getting to host this game, this is an Oregon team that might win the Pac-12 yet again, might sneak into the college football playoff, and will boast one of the best defenses in the country. So even though I think Oregon State makes it to the postseason this year, they win 6 games, if you include the non-conference, they will fall big time to their rival, who they haven't had much success against in recent years. 3 straight losses to the Ducks. But it doesn't matter. Jonathan Smith continues to improve, and we've got Oregon State going 6-6. Again, that's including non-conference games. If you take those away, that's 4-5 in conference play. Now, at the time of this video, we don't know what the Pac-12 is going to do, but there are rumors that Oregon State and every Pac-12 team will play 10 conference games instead of the usual 9, which means whoever Oregon State has to face in that 10th game whoever they have to face in that 10th game will determine whether or not the Beavers go bowling or not. If they win it, they're 5-5 in conference play. If they lose it, they're 4-6, and they miss out on a bowl game yet again. It might have to wait till next year, a real 12-game season type of year, for them to go bowling. But in our eyes, Oregon State does have the talent to return to the postseason. In our eyes, they might be able to snag that extra 10th win if, in fact, that's the route the conference goes. But nonetheless, Jonathan Smith at his alma mater continuing to do great things. 2-10 to 5-7 to 6-6 in a full 12-game season, and right on the border of making a bowl game in 2020. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. Also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. We've got exclusive content on our website, thegridironexpert.com, and also exclusive content on our social media pages over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.